Okay, let me explain how you'll enter and win the DV 2022 process. This year's lottery, actually like last year, could be your best chance to win in a long time. There was a new rule introduced last year about having an unexpired passport, and we saw applications drop from around about 12 million entries down to under 7 million entries. So since there's less entries, and there's going to be less entries in DV 2022, there's more chance to win one of the lucky places. So this really is going to be a great chance for you to win. The photo requirements are also a little bit more strict now. You shouldn't use an old photo, but I'll explain that to you. And there are more visas available again this year. There's 55,000 visas available. So in the previous years, they've been only issuing up to 50,000 visas. So let's say, who can apply? Anyone born in an eligible country can apply, or you can also be chargeable to an eligible country. That's a little bit complex, but for example, in my case, I was born in a non-eligible country in the UK, but I was married to a Spanish-born person, and so through her, we were both able to enter. So that's one way you can get around the requirement. But this is nothing to do with citizenship. This is to do with which country you're born in, and that's an absolutely crucial point you must understand. If you do this wrong, you can get disqualified. You have to meet some requirements. You have to have at least an education which is equivalent to the US high school, or 2 years of work experience at a professional level. And I clarify that. I've got articles and videos that explain that. So if you're unsure, you can ask me about that. There are some ineligible countries which are ineligible because they already have sufficient people emigrating each year from those countries, and the diversity visa process is about underrepresented countries. So as of now, the list that I know of countries that will be ineligible will be Bangladesh, Brazil, Canada, China, mainland-born, Colombia, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Guatemala, Haiti, India, Jamaica, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, Philippines, South Korea, United Kingdom except for the Northern Ireland and its dependent territories, and Vietnam. You can be any age, but you have to meet the other requirements. So for example, to have an education equivalent to US high school, you're probably going to be 18 years old, but you might be 17 years old. There's not a legal requirement that you've reached 18 years old. Similarly, on the higher end, you could be any age. You could be 60 or 70 or whatever you want. If you still have a desire to emigrate to the USA, you can do that. And then new actually for last year, but again in this year, you have to have an unexpired passport. This is critical. You must not enter if you do not have an unexpired passport. So you still have until the end of November, the end of the entry period, which is in early November. So you have time to apply for and obtain your passport to be able to enter. The DV 2022, that's actually a typo, the DV 2022 entry period is going to be from October the 1st to early November 2020. So it's going to open here, I'm recording this video in mid-September, so it's going to be a couple of weeks from now. There's no need to rush. The timing of the entry doesn't increase your chances, so you don't have to enter on day one, and it doesn't matter which day you choose to enter in that whole entry period. There is no preference given to the first entries or the last entries or any other day. It doesn't matter when you enter. You need the valid unexpired passport to enter, as I've already mentioned, and a few personal details. It'll be your name and your address, your age, etc. There's the information that you need is quite quite trivial. It's not going to be complicated. The other thing you do need is a newly taken photo. It has to be a recent photo. That doesn't have to be a professional photo. It's a passport type of photo. It can't just be any old photo. It needs to be posed in a sort of formal way, but I've created a video and I can show you how to take that video yourself with a mobile phone or a phone camera. It's really not difficult, and most phones these days have a decent enough camera to be able to take that photo. The photo itself, for the photo, there are good instructions available online. So, and they even have a free cropping tool. You don't need to pay for any professional cropping tool or anything else like that. And I'll leave the link for the photo video below in the description, so you'll be able to have a look at that and get help if you need it. But you can see from these examples on this page the sort of photo that it's going to be, right? It's a passport style photo. Okay, let me give you some magic tips to improve your chance of selection. Number one is you have to enter. You have to be in it to win it, right? You have to enter the lottery. A lot of people, forget or don't do it, or they go through a third party or whatever, entering the lottery is a simple, easy and free process, so actually getting in the process is important. Number two, my biggest tip is tell the truth. If you tell a lie at this beginning stage of the process, it will almost certainly come back to haunt you and probably get you disqualified later on. So in particular, you need to list all of your derivatives. If you don't have the photo of your child that's off at university or whatever example, if you don't have the photo of that person, don't enter. Because if you get selected and you didn't enter correctly, you'll be disqualified later on, and it will cost you time and money to find that out, and it's heartbreaking. Similarly, marital status, there is no advantage to listing your marital status one way or the other. There's no advantage given to single people or married people. You have to be truthful about whether you're married or not. Okay, so telling the truth is frankly my biggest tip. That's the most important thing. But also follow the instructions exactly as you see them. Okay, so read the instructions, please. I can't tell you how many people have told me, oh, I didn't know that I had to include my kids. I didn't know I had to include my wife. And it's very, very clear from the instructions. Or I didn't know I was supposed to put down my country of birth. I've done it based on my citizenship. These are very simple mistakes. You can avoid them by following the instructions. So, please do that. Now, in terms of other tips to improve your chances of selection, here's the big secret. There are no other ways of improving your chance of selection. There is nobody that can give you some sort of special info or pay someone to get you a chance or whatever. That's all nonsense. And so if somebody's telling you that, they're probably conning you. The draw is totally random. They don't give any preference for any reason. It's as if these are all entries in a bucket and someone is just drawing out an entry at random. That's the simple truth. So why do so many fail in the process? Well, I've created a video that explains the most common ways to fail. But just to be clear, some people are selected in the process as a winner and then they're disqualified immediately, even before the announcement of the winners. Then some people are selected as winners, they go through the whole process, they even pay for fees for medicals and for the visa interview itself, and then they're disqualified during the process because they haven't followed instructions, they don't meet the requirements, or they told a lie. So, so don't do those things. And let me just make absolutely clear, using an agent, using someone to enter for you, makes you more likely to be disqualified because that person doesn't understand your details, right? So it's very, very important that you have full control over your entry. You can open yourself up to blackmail by using an agent. You will, more often than not, those agents will make a mistake. It really makes sense to enter for yourself. It's very simple. So don't pay anyone to do the entry for you. Common errors that people go through. One of the largest ones is picking the wrong country of chargeability. So basically, for 99.9% of you, it'll be the country you're born in. Okay, if you're born in Spain, if you're born in Germany, wherever you're born, if you're born in South Africa, doesn't matter where you're born compared to what citizenship you carry today. The point is, where were you born? You're only born in one country, right? Everyone's only born one time. So pick the correct country of chargeability based on your place of birth. The only time you should not be picking the place of birth as chargeability is when that country is ineligible and you're able to claim chargeability through a spouse, etc., to another country. There's very specific rules about that. But don't use those rules, don't try and use that opportunity unless you fully understand it. So I'll explain those things to you, and I have created videos and articles that explain that. Not including an eligible spouse or a child, is important, right? This will get you disqualified. Very, 100% of the time you can get disqualified on this basis. So if you're married, you have to include your spouse. If you have children, either biological children, stepchildren, adopted children, all of those have to be listed on the entry if they're under 21 and if they're unmarried. So, and stepchildren, is the children of your spouse. Even if those children don't live with you or they're not planning to go to the USA, you must list them on the entry. Okay, absolutely critical. You will get disqualified, 100% certain, if you do that wrong. This year, you're going to have to enter the correct passport info. People that enter incorrect or a fake passport info are going to get disqualified. The photo has to meet the specifications, which I've provided there, a link for that. If you can't meet the education requirement or work experience, you're probably going to get disqualified. Lying in the process will get you disqualified, and just failing to follow the instructions will get you disqualified. So, this is a simple and straightforward process, but you have to follow a few simple instructions. There is a travel ban in place which affects a number of countries. I've listed them here. This is the Travel Ban 3.0 introduced by President Trump some time ago. This travel ban has been tested through the courts up to the Supreme Court, and so at the moment we can't do anything about this ban. However, the presidential election is coming up, and if President Trump were to lose that election, and if President Biden therefore is going to be making decisions in the new year, he could quite probably remove this travel ban, and we'll see a much different situation. So nationals of these countries that I've listed here, Libya, Iran, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, Eritrea, Kyrgyzstan, Myanmar, Sudan and Tanzania, all of nationals, people born in those countries, should certainly enter. There's no reason not to enter. But if you do enter and if you are selected, then you need to come and talk to me and see whether the ban has been removed. Okay? If you are affected still by those bans, there is a few ways around that. You can have dual citizenship, for example, and the ban itself might be removed, as I mentioned, because of the presidential election. Okay, the timeline for the entry period, as I mentioned, is during October. Essentially, it starts October 1st, it'll last all the way through October, and it'll end early November. The results are going to be announced in May of 2021, next year. Okay, so this is not a fast process. You'll enter in October, and it'll be almost 6 months before you find out whether you're a winner or not. Then interviews for DV 2022 won't start until October 2021. That's a full year from now. And some people will still be being interviewed up until a year after that. So people need to realize that this is going to be a relatively slow process. It's not going to be that quick. Okay? Okay, next steps. Well, number one, subscribe to my channel. That's the most important thing you can do right now. By subscribing to my channel, you'll get lots of information on how to process your case, how to enter, obviously, but you'll also get updates that affect you during the period, which might come out as we go through the entry period here. So make sure right now you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the subscribe button and the notification. Okay. Watch the video, and I'm going to put a link below on how to complete the entry form. It's a simple process. I think when I've done this for a few people, it takes a few minutes, 5-10 minutes per person. It really isn't a complicated process. Watch my videos and read my blog. I've got hundreds, literally hundreds of articles and over 100 videos that explain the whole process to you. So do that, and then enter in October. That's the best way. Okay, so my blog website is shown there, britsimonsays.com. Please check that out, and let's see if this year could be your year. Okay, I hope all of that is making everything much clearer for you on at least how you can avoid the problems that you might get into. I've also created a video on how to actually do the entry, how to fill in the form. It's a very simple process. You don't need anyone to help you. You can do it yourself. There's just a few questions, about a dozen questions. I can help you with this. Okay. Watch for that video, have a look in the link below, and please do subscribe to my channel to make sure you get updates about everything to do with DV Lottery, whether it's for this year or for a future year. Okay? Cheers now.